Hey YouTube, welcome to RV Daydream, and I want to talk to everybody about something I neglected to talk about, and that was my bad. I think I lost some footage.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
Okay, so we're standing outside our RV. We're at a park in Vero Beach in the middle of winter, which has been a beautiful experience. But one of the things I did to prep ourselves for full-time RVing before we left is make sure that the RV is protected. What do I mean by protected? I mean protected from the voltage gremlins that could happen to, being at a lot of different parks. I mean, I've stayed, I don't know how many parks we've stayed at now, but I've always felt pretty safe that I've been protected not only from voltage spikes in this case, but also low voltage. That's a big one. So why are we standing outside here? Well, first, you guys remember I did the project on the generator box. There's a Honda 2200 in here, and with the micro air easy starts I installed, I can run a rooftop air conditioner, and with the extended gas tank I can go like 37 hours running that, and I can still watch TV, stuff like that. But because of this, I had to do something inside that's a little bit different, so I wanted to refer to this briefly. The way the generator works is it's a 30 amp setup, and I just plug into the generator, run it around, and plug it into the side of the RV, and it can run everything that I need inside, and it's based off of this 50 amp. Of course, that 30 converts into a 50 where it's connected here. So how is this different than any other setup? Well, you're not going to see it out here. Let me flip you around, I'll show you. This is a traditional pedestal, and there's a 50 amp, 30 amp, and then of course your duplex plug there for your 20 amp setup. And you can see my plug has no surge protector on it whatsoever. Now that doesn't mean I'm not protected, it actually means the exact opposite. So the cord comes over here and into the side of the RV. Now because of my situation, I could get to the back side of this plug by removing the panels of a little cabinet, a little shelf that I have inside here that we'll go look at. But I wanted to show you the outside and how it looks when we're at campgrounds. So now we're on the inside here, and this is behind my chair, behind my recliner. And I wanted to talk about these two items. But first I wanted to continue on with what I was saying about what I did outside. Now, when that plug is plugged in outside, as it is currently right now, all the power, everything that has to offer is coming from this now. It puts a 50 amp plug, traditional plug, with the 5 blades, or I'm sorry, the 4 blades. It puts that on the inside of the RV. So why this mess? Well, this is kind of help support these cords. They're very heavy cords, and they have a pretty strong memory. So this cord here goes to the RV, and the original wiring that went to that plug on the outside. So before, when I plugged in my RV, it would run to these wires and over to the converter that's underneath the refrigerator, and it would power the entire RV, and it would charge the batteries. Well, I cut those wires, and instead I made the plug that's on the outside connect directly to this. That way I could plug in my surge protector and the auto former. Now this is a 50 amp setup because I have a 50 amp rig. Now if you have a 30 amp rig, they make a 30 amp box for not only the surge protector, a 30 amp surge protector, but also a 30 amp auto former. And I really didn't talk about this a lot and why I did it or why I need it or anything like that, but a lot of these parks we get to might have some low voltage. Now there's going to be, I'm sure, a ton of comments from a lot of experts out there how bad this is and all the problems it could cause. And you know what? I haven't seen any of that. So no matter how much in theory there's a problem, in practice I haven't seen any of that whatsoever. If that ever changes, I'll let you know. But basically this box is not actually a transformer. It's what they refer to as an autoformer. It does it a little bit differently inside. And it has a lot of protections in it. So if the voltage outside gets too low, it will shut off. It'll shut off everything. It'll shut off the entire RV. However, it has to go below a certain amount. It's got to go below like 104 volts. If it's above that, this thing will use amperage. It will step up the voltage necessary to keep your appliances safe. Now, one of the things with the rooftop air conditioners, those motors that are in there, those fan motors, and the compressor motors, they need voltage. Of course, they need amperage too, but they definitely need voltage to run. So what they do is they steal a little bit of amperage from the line, and through math, they just basically convert it over to extra volts. So even though the site might only have 106 volts, which isn't near enough to run your rooftop air conditioner, this thing will steal some amperage out of that 50 amps, because you're most likely not going to use all 50 amps. And it's going to convert it over and give you enough voltage to make it to where you can run that rooftop air conditioner safely. Now, the nice thing about this surge protector is you have the ability through an app to see what kind of voltage is coming through on the line, what kind of voltage is available, what kind of amps you're drawing, when you turn on your air conditioner and stuff like that. And again, it also has automatic shutoff. So if this for some reason failed, you would still have this. Or vice versa, if this completely fails to where I had to disconnect it, that's the other reason I have it to where I can plug and unplug everything. I can bypass any portion of these two components or both of them together. And that's actually what I do, talking about that generator, when I run my generator. The generator doesn't need this. It doesn't need the autoformer. It won't work with those things. So what I do is I just unplug this setup that is strapped to the floor, and I just plug in the RV direct, and again, run the cord like I normally would with the generator running, and everything is fine. It works out great. Now, of course, I lose some protection, some low voltage protection, but the generator's set up for that. It has an automatic, overload that it will go ahead and turn itself off if it's getting too much of a demand. That's why I don't need these components. So why would you want to get this stuff? Well, the autoformer has a cover, which I have somewhere here, a cover that's designed for it to go outside and keep it protected. It doesn't need to go outside. It can go inside. You just have to wire it for inside. Now, they make hardwired systems for not only the autoformer, but they also make it for the surge protector, where you don't have to do all that with the plugs that I just showed you. But remember, if one of those fails, you have to unwire it all. And if you get rid of your rig, you got to unwire it all and rewire your rig the way it used to be. This way, within 3 minutes, I can disconnect everything and make this RV perfectly suitable for somebody who wants to buy it, and I get to keep my components and bring that to the next RV. But the reason you'd want these more than anything else is if you're going to unknown parks with unknown electricity and you're concerned about having a problem. There's lots of parks you may get into, like we did back in 2017. We stopped at a park and we couldn't run our air conditioner because the voltage was too low. Now, luckily, the site next to us was empty for the season, and we could run a cord over there under their instructions, and we could run off of their amperage, and we got to run our rooftop air. But if not, we would have had to have this autoformer, which we didn't have on our old RV. So it's really nice to have that peace of mind. Not only that, but guess what? Nobody's going to steal my surge protector because it's in the RV. And as far as parks, some of these parks out here, they talk about, oh, they're going to ban the autoformers. They can ban whatever they want. They can't see inside my RV. They don't know what I'm running. So other than watching this video, and even then, I really think that that's a stretch, because the only way you could cause any harm to the electrical system that is at the park is if the park's electrical system is already harmed and it's not working correctly. So again, I'm sure the comments are going to just flow about how bad it is and how it's causing problems for everybody else and all that stuff. Listen, I haven't seen any of that. I haven't heard any of that. I've never got to a site plugged in and everybody in the park go, I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden my lights are going dim. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way, guys. You got to remember that these parks aren't going to protect and don't really necessarily care if your rig burns up. And what I mean is your air conditioners. You lose your air conditioners because the voltage is too low. You lose your refrigerator because the voltage is too low, which is kind of hard to do because it runs off a 12 volt more than anything else. Except when you're plugged in. And I'm talking about a traditional propane and electric refrigerator. They don't care about that stuff. These parks, they're trying to do their best with what they have, but some of these parks are old. They're very old, and so is their infrastructure. So all I'm doing is insurance policy for me. This is protecting me and my RV. So as far as the issues that happen outside of the RV, that's the park's issues. That's really not mine, and I'm not causing any of those. So these units are expensive. However, how cheap is it compared to having somebody replace maybe both your rooftop air conditioners? I'm sure this is a lot cheaper than that. So the link is down below for the 50 amp. Not only the 50 amp auto former, but the 50 amp surge protector. It's also going to be down below for the 30 amp surge protector and the 30 amp auto former, and the kit. They allow you to wire it in inside your RV. They make a kit for it, which is really nice. So I'll put down the 50 amp version and the 30 amp version down there. Just make sure you check the right one. And then of course they make a really nice, which I didn't buy, I should have, bracket that bolts to the floor that allows that autoformer to really get secured in there. I just have it strapped down. I wish I would have bought that bracket because it's not very expensive. I don't even think that bracket was available, to tell you the truth, at the time that I bought this. But peace of mind through the roof. I know when I get to a park, I can plug in, I come look around the corner. If the dog's face is white like it is there, not an issue. Everything is good. As long as all those lights are green, I'm good. And I have had it shut off a couple times in parks after we've stayed, and that tells me that there was low voltage. Now, the worst case about this whole situation, at night, I have to cover that up. It's just too darn bright. That's it. That's all that's a problem. So again, help support the channel. Links are down below. I appreciate it. And as always, guys, we hope to see you out here. Bye.